Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at 3 different versions of the Glycine Airman. On the left here we have the GL0069. In the middle we have the GL0072. And on the right we have the GL0055. The one on the left is called the Glycine Airman GMT Automatic. The one on the very right is the Glycine Airman World Timer GMT. There's World Timer on the dial there. Now this one does as well. Probably just different websites calling them by different names. And then the one in the middle is the DC4, and that is the Purist Edition. So the Purist Edition here in the middle, it does not have the GMT hand, and the hour hand circles the dial just once in 24 hours. And then the two on the left and the right have your traditional hour and minute hand. So this hour hand, just like most watches, will circle the dial twice in 24 hours. And then you have that GMT hand there for your second time zone. And also you can track a third time zone by the bezel on both of these. This one here just has the bezel for your second time zone, since the GMT hand is, you could say it's deleted, but really the GMT hand is that hour hand, and the actual hour hand is the one that's deleted. So it's a collection of my Airmen here. I had purchased these two on the one on the left and right mainly just for review, and I had intended on keeping this one. I really like the style of this. This is more like the original Airman. It's just, I don't think it's going to be a keeper for me. I thought it was going to be, but I have way too many other watches, and I need to make room in the collection. So I have actually not even worn any of these other than for video and pictures, but this would be the one that I would keep. It is still a little bit too big for my preference. I would like it if the lug-to-lug was a little smaller, but I think that's just the style of the watch. The date magnifier, take it or leave it. It is practical. I can see the date a lot easier. It is larger, but with this one, there is some kind of distortion going on for my eye that makes it hard to read. On camera, it doesn't look like what it looks like in person. So if you were to buy one of these, just keep that in mind, or you may not have the issue. Or maybe I'm not used to date magnifiers. This one here on the left, I actually like this one a lot more than I thought I would. I'm really not a fan of PVD watches, but the lume on this thing is amazing, actually. Actually, the lume on all of these is actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting lume to be as good as what it is. And this one here is a little more dressy. It is way too large for my wrist, but like I said, I bought it for the review. It is a nice looking watch. I like the rounded case shape on this. I like the way it looks. It's just some things I don't understand the differences in these watches, why they're different in the way that they are. I don't know how Glycine operates, but for example, the crown on this thing is just gigantic. It's an 8.5 millimeter crown, and that's a large crown as well. It's a large watch. It's too large for me. So let's just go over the specs. Let's go. Well, so to have this one in hand. This one again is the GL0055, 54.5 lug to lug, 44 millimeter case diameter, and it's about 12.4 thick. The thickness on all these are about the same, 12.4. Okay, now moving down to the middle, the GL0072. This is 50.5 lug to lug, 42 case diameter. And then this one here has longer lugs at 52.5 lug to lug, but the case diameter is a little bit smaller at 41.5. Or I think I measured it, 41.6. So basically 41.5. And the case shape on these two are essentially the same, just on a smaller scale. You can see that the main body of the case here is rounded, is polished on the sides, brushed on the top. You can still see that on this PVD case. It's polished on the sides, brushed on top. And this one here is a completely different style case. It's not rounded through the body here. I'll show you next to this one. So I would have figured that the case shape would have been the same on all of these glycines. Or maybe this case shape is more true to the original. Perhaps that's why this has this case shape, to be in the DC4 line. Polished on the sides, brushed on the top. They all have the bezel locking crown here. You unscrew the crown and this piece of metal comes out, and then you can rotate the bezel. Speaking of the crowns, the crown on this thing is just tiny. This crown is 5.4 millimeter versus 8.5 on this one. Again, maybe that's more true to the original. It just looks kind of odd. And on this one, and also the GL0069, the cross hatching is on the main crown, and then the logo is on this bezel locking crown. But the GL0072 is opposite. It has a cross hatching on the bezel locking crown, and the logo is on the main crown. They all do have the same movement. Actually, I'll show you this one here. It's a little easier to see this one. What the heck? Let's pull this one down here. So these all have the GL293 movement, which I believe is a Solita, just with a glycine rotor here. I don't believe glycine has done anything else to this movement. So, I mean, these are a good value for a GMT. Swiss movement, Swiss made watch, sapphire crystal. It's hard to beat for the price. Comes down to if you like the styling. Glycine was founded in 1914. The first Airman came out in 1953. Looks pretty similar to this one. The handset's a little bit different. But if you're interested in these watches, do a search on the history of the Airman. It has a neat history to it. The founder of Glycine, whose name escapes me at the moment, actually he wasn't the founder, he was a salesman, or the CEO. He would take flights overseas, and he would talk to pilots and ask them what they wanted in a watch. And he came up with this watch. And the Airman came out a year before the Rolex GMT. So let's put these two back to back. You can get a little bit of an idea of the lug to lug. So the PVD is 2 millimeter longer than the stainless steel one here, but the case is a little bit smaller on this black one. So let's put them on wrist. Like I said, I've come to like this black one more than I thought I would, the PVD coated one with the full lume dial. It's kind of a greenish, yellowish color. And this one is more of a cream color. Neither of these are a true white. I think this one's more of a white dial. My Orient Kamasu. Should have another white dial here, actually. This one's more of a true white. Hampton, Kraken. I believe this is second generation. Then here's the cream dial again. So let's get these on wrist. This is a neat watch. My only complaint about this is it's hard to read the GMT bezel. I wouldn't really use it anyway. And I'm concerned with the coating eventually wearing off, the PVD coating. But the hardware matches. The nylon strap is it's not the greatest, but it works. Doesn't feel all that comfortable. It may break in over time. Also, with it being a black nylon strap and then the black case, it doesn't look as large on wrist, at least not to me. So here it is on my 6.5-inch wrist, 52 millimeter wristband, and lug to lug on this is 52.5, so it does overhang my wrist a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see at this angle here. And with the NATO strap, it does raise it off the wrist a little bit, so the thickness of this was without the NATO strap. This strap adds about another 2 millimeter to the thickness, bringing it to about 14.5. So after you see all these on wrist, please let me know in the comments which one you like the best. Here we are zoomed out. Also, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Gives me a indication on if you like these videos. Let's move up in the size spectrum here, at least by case diameter. Now I'll zoom back in. This strap is a little harder to put on. Not sure why that would be. Don't need to cinch it down too much. Needles take a little bit of messing around to get on wrist. All right, there we go. So 6.5-inch wrist, 52 millimeter wristband, and this one was 50.5 millimeter lug to lug, 42 case diameter. They're all the same thickness. This one a little more thick if you measure the Cyclops, but no one measures thickness by the Cyclops. And stay tuned to the end of the video and we'll do the lume. I know which one will be the brightest. You can see the AR coating on this one more than the others. They all do have a dome. But you can definitely see the AR coating on this. It could be due to the black dial. It looks like it's the same kind of coating, AR coating. All right, then we'll put the big one on wrist next, which is, again, way too big for my wrist. This leather feels nice. I believe I was on the vinyl hole position. Actually could use a little bit tighter as well. All right, here we go. 6.5-inch wrist, 52 millimeter wristband, and this guy is at 54.5, so it overhangs a millimeter on each side. So a good color combination though. I like the tan strap with that cream color dial. Really like the rounded case as well. Don't see too many watches like that, but looks like a perfect radius too. All right, let's pause the video and take a look at the loom. One more thing I didn't go over in the review video. The keeper is actually signed. I don't think I've seen that before on a watch. So a nice little touch there, a signed keeper. And the buckle is signed as well. All right, hold on and we'll be right back with the loom. All right, so on the left we have the GL0072, in the middle GL0069, and on the right the GL0055. Of course, the star of the show is the full loom dial. It's not quite as bright as what you see on the screen. Actually, none of these are quite as bright as what you see on the screen, but the full loom dial is definitely the brightest. And then probably the one on the left is slightly brighter than the one on the right. The handset is for sure, at least. The handset is really bright for how thin the loom is on those hands. And I also like that the numbers are loomed on the DC4. So let me know which would be your pick amongst these three. Let me know what you think of the Airman. And as always, thank you for watching, and talk to you on the next video.